Welcome to the topic Transfusion Reactions in the module Hematology. By the end of this topic, you should be able to define transfusion reactions, outline the causes of transfusion reactions, outline the classification of transfusion reactions, describe the clinical manifestations and outline the investigations done for transfusion reactions, discuss principles of management of transfusion reactions, and finally discuss the complications and prognosis. Let's get started. Transfusion reactions are the adverse effects associated with transfusion of whole blood or one of its components. Reaction is a bodily process occurring due to the effect of pre-existing stimulus. Now, blood transfusion is a process of transferring blood products via intravenously. Whole blood can be separated into three components: red blood cells, platelet concentrates, and plasma. Red blood cells can be transfused in the form of packed cells, washed red blood cells, and WBC depleted red blood cells. Washed red blood cells are free of almost all traces of plasma, white blood cells, and platelets. They are given to patients who have severe reactions to plasma. WBC depleted RBCs removed almost more than 99% of the WBCs, and they are indicated for patients who have experienced non-hemolytic febrile transfusion reactions or patients who require CMV negative blood when it's unavailable, and for prevention of HLA alloimmunization. Next would be FFP, so fresh frozen plasma. This is an unconcentrated source of all clotting factors without platelets. Indications of FFP are correction of bleeding secondary to factor deficiencies, multi-factor deficiency states such as massive transfusion, DIVC, and liver failure. Fresh frozen plasma is also indicated when urgent warfarin reversal is required. Cryoprecipitate is the concentrate prepared from FFP. It is usually used in acute DIVC with bleeding, treatment of uremic bleeding, cardiothoracic surgery, obstetrics emergencies such as abruptio placenta and HELLP syndrome. WBCs are given rarely, only for patients who have sepsis with profound persistent neutropenia and unresponsive to antibiotics. Immunoglobulins such as the Rh immunoglobulin, which can be given intramuscularly or intravenously to prevent development of maternal Rh antibodies and to treat ITP. Platelet concentrates are indicated to prevent bleeding in asymptomatic severe thrombocytopenia, platelet dysfunction, and for patients who receive massive transfusion that causes dilutional thrombocytopenia. The pathophysiology of transfusion reaction depends on the types of reaction. The types of reaction include allergy, anaphylaxis, febrile, non-hemolytic transfusion reaction, acute hemolytic transfusion reaction, transfusion-associated circulatory overload or TACO, transfusion-related acute lung injury or TRALI, delayed hemolytic transfusion reaction or DHTR, and transfusion-associated graft versus host disease. We are going to discuss about acute transfusion reaction in this slide. Mild allergies occur when the recipient develops hypersensitivity to foreign protein in the donor product. Anaphylactic reaction is a severe reaction occurring in patients with IgA deficiency who make alloantibodies against IgA and receive blood-containing IgA. Febrile non-hemolytic transfusion reaction is due to cytokines released from the donor WBCs. Sepsis may occur if bacteria or bacterial products such as endotoxin contaminate the blood product. Acute hemolytic transfusion reactions cause intravascular or extravascular hemolysis. The pathophysiology depends on the specific cause. In immune-mediated reaction, the recipient antibodies present to blood donor antigens, whereas in non-immune reactions, RBCs are damaged before transfusion by heat or incorrect osmotic conditions. Transfusion-associated circulatory overload or TACO is the volume overload in the recipient body caused by volume of the transfused component. Transfusion-related acute lung injury is caused by antibodies in the donor product such as leukocyte antigen and neutrophil antigen reacting with recipient antigens. This triggers the immune response and the release of mediators leading to pulmonary edema. Delayed hemolytic transfusion reaction or DHTR is a response to foreign antigen that patients was previously exposed to. It may be prior to transfusion or pregnancy. This image shows a pathway of another delayed transfusion reaction, which is transfusion-associated graft versus host disease. It is an engraftment of donor lymphocytes into an immunocompromised recipient's bone marrow. Donor lymphocytes recognize patients as foreign and react against the recipient. The causes of transfusion reaction can be divided into immune-mediated and non-immune-mediated. Immune-mediated causes include mismatch of or incompatibility of transfused product and the recipient due to anti-A or anti-B antibodies. Non-immunologic causes include the physical effects of blood components or the transmission of disease due to bacterial contamination. This happens at the time of collection due to non-sterile procedure, presence of bacteria in the circulation at the time of collection, or improper product handling. Intrinsic factors may cause transfusion reactions as well. The examples of intrinsic factors include transfusion-associated volume overload or TACO and hypothermia. This table shows the classification of transfusion reactions. It can be classified into acute or delayed and immune or non-immune. Acute transfusion reaction happens during transfusion or within hours, that's less than 24 hours after transfusion. Delayed type transfusion reaction happens after 24 hours post-transfusion, and it can be days or months post-transfusion. Now let's discuss the clinical manifestations of transfusion reactions. Acute hemolytic transfusion reaction happens within 1 hour of initiation of transfusion. The symptoms include dyspnea, fever, chills, facial flushing, and severe lumbar pain. Patients with graft versus host disease may present with fever, rash, vomiting, watery diarrhea, and bloody diarrhea. Physicians should look for symptoms of heart failure to exclude transfusion-associated circulatory overload. Allergic reactions usually have milder symptoms such as urticaria, edema, occasional dizziness, and headache during or immediately after transfusion, dyspnea, and wheezing. Incontinence may happen due to generalized spasms of the smooth muscles, and delayed hemolytic transfusion reaction is usually asymptomatic. Some patients might present with only a slight fever. Patients with acute hemolytic transfusion reaction may present with shock. Upon physical exam, patients may have rapid, feeble pulse, cold, clammy skin, low blood pressure, nausea, vomiting, and jaundice that may follow acute hemolysis. Lymphadenopathy, pancytopenia due to bone marrow aplasia, jaundice, and elevated liver enzymes may be noticed among patients with graft versus host disease. Transfusion-associated circulatory overload can precipitate signs of heart failure, and there are some additional signs that we can notice among patients with transfusion reactions, and the signs include chills, rigors, fever, dyspnea, lightheadedness, urticaria, itching, and flank pain. Now let's discuss the investigations. Visual inspection of the recipient's plasma and urine may help because ABO blood group or incompatible transfusion may cause red urine. Retyping of donor and recipient red blood cells can be done to look for discrepancies between the original ABO type and the repeat ABO typings. This investigation can identify the mismatch of transfusion. Direct antiglobulin or Coombs test may show positive direct antiglobulin reaction. A result of positive direct antiglobulin test measuring urinary hemoglobin, serum lactate dehydrogenase, bilirubin, low haptoglobin, and hyperbilirubinemia may indicate AHTR. Bacterial contamination can be excluded with culture of the blood unit and the patient's blood. Patients with DHTR will have increased serum bilirubin and LDH concentrations but decline in total hemoglobin. Allergic reactions may show red plasma or urine, discordant pre-transfusion or post-transfusion ABO blood types, and positive Coombs tests. Other investigations such as renal function tests can be ordered to rule out acute kidney injury. Chest X-ray can provide information of non-cardiogenic pulmonary edema. Brain natriuretic peptide or BNP is also ordered to distinguish cardiogenic pulmonary edema in circulatory overload from non-cardiogenic pulmonary edema presenting intrally. The most important management of transfusion reaction is to stop the transfusion immediately. When transfusion reaction occurs, the intravenous line should be kept open in the patient using appropriate fluids using 0.9% saline. A check should be performed by examining the product bag and confirming the patient's identification. The patient's vital signs should be monitored and recorded at an interval of 15 minutes. A post-transfusion blood sample should be drawn and sent to the lab, in addition to sending the bag and tubing if possible. The blood bank generally completes additional testing and checks to rule out any incompatible transfusion. Treatment of specific transfusion reaction is most often supportive. Now, supportive treatment can relieve the symptoms. Paracetamol and diphenhydramine can relieve fever. IV saline is used to maintain urine output of 100 ml per hour for 24 hours. Furosemide can be given in a dose of 40 to 80 milligrams, and antihistamines such as diphenhydramine may be given prophylactically in patients with previous allergic transfusion. Antihistamine can also be given to patients with mild urticaria. Moderate allergic reaction with generalized urticaria or mild bronchospasms should be given hydrocortisone, while severe anaphylactic reaction requires epinephrine. And this should be given of 0.5 ml of 1 in 1,000 solution subcutaneously immediately. Complications of transfusion reactions include disseminated intravascular coagulation, lung injury, renal failure, hemolysis, and transfusion-related death. The prognosis of transfusion reaction depends on the types. Acute hemolytic reactions, which are either antibody-mediated or non-antibody-mediated, non-hemolytic febrile reactions, and allergic reactions are considered as a good prognosis. Poorer prognosis is reported among patients with bacterial contamination, endotoxemia, TRALI, and anaphylactic reaction. In summary, transfusion reactions are adverse events associated with the transfusion of whole blood or one of its components. Acute transfusion reactions occur during the transfusion less than 24 hours, and delayed transfusion reactions take place days to weeks later. The pathophysiology varies based on the type of reaction. Immune-mediated transfusion reactions is due to incompatibility of the transfused product and the recipient. Non-immunologic reactions is due to physical efforts of blood components or transmission of disease. Clinical manifestations of transfusion reactions include chills, fever, rigors, dyspnea, lightheadedness, urticaria, itching, and flank pain. Visual inspection of the recipient's plasma and urine, retyping of donor and recipient's red blood cells, and Coombs testing are important investigations. The most important management of transfusion reaction is to stop the transfusion. Blood units and patients' data should be checked immediately, and the treatment of specific transfusion reactions is usually supportive. We have come to the end of this topic. Thank you.